Today, one day after Microsoft announced that it would shut down 4 of its game studios, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. "We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards," Booty told employees, according to internal remarks shared with The Verge.
Sleepy
Matt Booty,
who has no clue what he's doing.
And the Game Award goes to Hi-Fi Rush.
Gaming.
Absolutely unbelievable incompetence from Matt Booty. How crazy is it to think for a second that the heads at Microsoft don't even understand which products of theirs have been accomplishing the goals that they're telling consumers they want to meet, as if consumers are stupid, which a good chunk of them are, but plenty of others are informed enough to realize that Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, and Sarah Bond are completely full of shit. Along Aaron Greenberg and his stupid X symbol that he was doing with a bunch of people who weren't realizing he was just lying to everyone's faces.
Wait a minute.
Game.
Look, I get it. You probably see an Xbox doom and gloom video every other week, and you have been for like 12 years. So I understand if you're rolling your eyes, but I think it's very important we address the fact that a lot of these executives at Microsoft are incompetent, and it's absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, affecting the quality of the overall product. And if you care and you want the absolute best out of Microsoft because PlayStation is in some dire need of competition, let's face it, then I think it's absolutely important and 100% valid to voice your opinion. Oftentimes, a lot of the criticism I see levied towards Microsoft is deflected, and people constantly bring PlayStation into the picture as if that somehow makes a single thing Microsoft is doing any better. It doesn't. It doesn't even help PlayStation either. This deflection has gotten us absolutely nowhere. So let's just address the elephant in the room. Microsoft shutting down 4 studios. Now, believe it or not, I'm not one of these people that is looking at the ethics of any of this. You can take your ethics and morality arguments elsewhere. I'm viewing this solely through the lenses of a consumer and someone who has enjoyed some of these products. I recognize that studio shutdowns happen a lot, and they will continue to happen. So I'm not going to be surprised if in a week or a month from now, as it's been predicted, we'll hear about more studio shutdowns and more layoffs. At the end of the day, the gaming industry is one giant business. To take it personal is the biggest mistake a lot of people online make. Instead, we're gonna have to look at this as one of the poorest business decisions Microsoft has ever made. So let's take a look at those 4 studios they've decided to shut down. Alpha Dog Studios, I couldn't care less, to be honest, as mean as that sounds.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Roundhouse Games.
Who?
Arcane Austin. That one definitely hurts. Fans of Deathloop, you know, all 5 of them are really going to feel that one.
This information cut so deep for me.
And then Tango Gameworks.
What the f***'s your problem? You get in my face with that, I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. You piece of shit. You goddamn Listen, Ed, you have crossed the line. Get that through your goddamn head.
Now, believe it or not, I actually found out about Tango Gameworks shut down through their own Twitter, which is how I then found out Microsoft was shutting down 3 others. I'm not going to shed a tear over a mobile game studio, but I'll tell you one thing, I am hurting deep inside. Hi-Fi Rush was one of my favorite games last year. It is excellent. It doesn't matter what Griffin Gaming says about how overrated it is. It was easily the most polished, complete package I had played in quite some time. I suppose you could say maybe they were right, that shadow dropping the game wasn't the move and may have affected its overall sales, but the messaging here is mixed because Aaron Greenberg came to bat for the game, saying how the company was very happy with its success and its sales, and yet a few months later, the studio is completely demolished, and that is how the studio is thanked for being the only studio to actually get Microsoft an award. Just absolutely unbelievable. And no, I'm not pretending to care, as many are throwing as an accusation on social media. In what world is Microsoft better off without their only Japanese developer? I mean, say what you will about the other 3 studios, I probably agree with you, but Tango Gameworks, that's the studio they go with? I understand that their lead left months ago, and I was getting kind of worried when I heard that they hadn't found a replacement. I didn't think that would lead to the end of the studio, who I was looking the most forward to for a sequel. And unlike the vast majority on social media, voicing their concerns, I actually played this game. I actually beat it too. And I'm wondering, where the hell were the rest of you? Now you care about this game? Now you care about Tango Gameworks? No, not even Microsoft cared about Tango Gameworks. As I showed you with Matt Booty's insanely arrogant and stupid comment at the beginning, it's a clear sign that these higher ups at Microsoft do not know a single thing about the games they make. I'm almost tempted to one day just show up faded as to one of these Xbox event thingies and interviewing all the executives and throwing them bullshit questions, lying about their games, and seeing if they just nod along and not bother to correct me. It would show just how disconnected they are from the products that they're trying to push out. How in the world are you gonna sit there and tell people you want a game that's small and get you awards, and then immediately shut down the only studio that provided that for you? The only studio that made people remember Xbox exists. From a business standpoint, it makes 0 sense to can the only studio that could get you what you wanted. And not a single executive has a good answer as to why this happened. I mean, just listen to Sarah Bond.
Related to some of the trends you're identifying, earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4 game studios. I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive games?
Yeah, it's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that.
I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry, and when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition. And the news we announced earlier this week is an outcome of that, and our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term. But that said, our commitment to having our own studios and working with partners to have games large and small, we're a platform where you can play GTA, but you can also play Power World, where you can play Call of Duty, and you can also play Pentiment. That doesn't change. And frankly, our commitment to Bethesda and the role that it plays is part of Xbox and everything we do. It's actually been pretty fantastic. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check it out. The Fallout TV show was on Amazon, and it's been great to see people fall in love with that universe, but also what it's done for the games themselves, and people going back and exploring everything that's inside of that. There's some other great things that are coming from our studios later this year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was a big indie fan growing up. Looks like you were too. So you should check that out. But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted and doing everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
Okay, Sarah. Even ChatGPT could come up with a more human response. That was nothing but pure word salad. It wasn't even an answer. I don't think it could qualify as an answer. And yet people will claim it was unfair of her to be put in the spot like that, even though it's her job.
Of course they send a black woman out to do the damage control for the people who made the decisions Why not send out Phil or Satya? Matt Booty, I wonder why. Make sure you all direct the BS to Phil where it belongs.
And of course, there's always going to be that one person that takes it there. How many times do we have to sit there and see Phil Spencer do his usual apology tour? Because I'm thoroughly sick of it. Either way, Sarah Bond was sent out there because she's, I don't know, what, the president of Xbox? I'm pretty sure it's within her duties to have to do some PR. Do we really have to shelter her from criticism? She chose to be one of the faces of this company. That's entirely on her. It ain't got nothing to do with skin color. This is absolutely ridiculous. You know, this must be that equity they're fighting so hard for. Gotta make sure it's the men, specifically the white men, that take all the heat, and we must shelter the person whose job it is to take heat as well. And as far as I'm concerned, all three should be taking some heat, especially Matt Booty. Phil Spencer's lack of leadership, Matt Booty's lack of knowledge over his own products, and Sarah Bond's inability to answer a very basic question.
Why'd they throw out Sarah Bond to answer this? Horrible non-answer, but I think Matt Booty or Phil Spencer should be the ones answering the questions right now.
Game.
Gee, I don't know, it's almost like it's her job. I mean, really? She gets paid $77 an hour. At the very least, at that type of wage, you better be able to answer a basic question and take some sort of PR heat. It's a part of the job. Why are they defending Sarah Bond? She isn't innocent. She's in a position meant to take accountability, and you guys are refusing to hold her up to it. Call me crazy, but maybe this is contributing to the downfall of Xbox. Maybe this parasocial relationship the Xbox community has had with someone like Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg isn't helping. Here's the reality. People like Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, they had an obsession with acquiring ABK because it would increase the value of their company, which they have stocks in. They don't care about you. They don't care about your complaints. They don't empathize with you. ABK wasn't a purchase to benefit you. There's a reason why Phil Spencer said this acquisition would be the highlight of his career. There is a big, juicy payout for him. And that's most likely why Phil Spencer will not be fired, because behind the scenes, Microsoft probably loves him for getting them ABK and saying, Tango Gameworks who? Arcane who? Never heard of them. Tango was in the process of pitching a Hi-Fi Rush sequel, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing non-public information.
My dad said so.
Alright, well, this is coming from Jason Schreier, so I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sure how a Hi-Fi Rush sequel would have been pitched without their lead. It doesn't sound like it would have been anywhere near as good without the direction of Shinji Mikami, who, like I stated previously, left Tango Gameworks months back. But nonetheless, a sequel was pitched, and before anything could even be said, they were shut down. You may be wondering what happened to the remaining people within this team. Well, according to Microsoft, it looks like some employees will be relocated to different parts of the company, but not everyone is going to stay hired on. The reasoning behind this is because they want to reallocate resources and want to put more investment and reprioritization of certain titles. Now, what I don't understand is why this couldn't have been Sarah Bond's answer. It's all basically already stated. She really couldn't just fetch that out of her mind. Remember the PR talk that was already said? Truly a head-scratching moment. And per usual, this has a domino effect on the Xbox community like, well, it always does. You know how the Xbox community is. Now people are questioning whether or not COD will be on Game Pass. Now people are suggesting Hellblade 2 will be on PlayStation. There will be a price increase to Game Pass. You know, every single concern you could think of. And this pure chaos is completely on Microsoft. A lack of communication, a lack of transparency, the usual. You've heard just about every single Xbox doom and gloom video. Microsoft have, once again, shot themselves in the foot with these decisions. And the most gamers can do is nuke Phil Spencer's house in Fallout 76, of course.
Well done, Mr. Burke. What a grand display of fireworks.
Which, while absolutely hilarious, is really only amusing and nothing else. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here completely concerned for Obsidian, Double Fine, for the love of God, Microsoft, please don't do anything to Double Fine, and Ninja Theory. You don't really know who's up next on the chopping block. You're just expecting it. And neither of us are gonna get a single solid answer from someone like Sarah Bond or Phil Spencer or Matt Booty. Consumer confidence has gotta be at the lowest point, even lower than the Xbox One launch. 1 minute telling players Starfield's 30 FPS lock was a creative choice, and then silently telling people, yeah, there's gonna be a 60 FPS patch, and yeah, we're gonna put in land vehicles. It's almost as if a lot of these products coming out from Microsoft are insanely undercooked. I'm not saying they're the only ones guilty of this, but the video is focused on Microsoft, so that is who we are talking about. And when it comes to it, the only solid, polished experience came from Tango. Do you see Tango Gameworks having to go back and add in things people wanted? Do you see Tango Works having to cover up for any blunders with Hi-Fi Rush? Do you see the awards on their shelf? Hello? Microsoft? Anybody home? Absolutely insane. And people want Microsoft to purchase Sega? Are you out of your minds? No. This was their one Japanese studio. In a world where Microsoft owns Sega, the only thing they would allow them to ever probably publish is Yakuza. This company's direction is just constantly up in the air. When people tell you, what is Microsoft up to? All you can really do is shrug and tell them, I don't even know. All the pressure in the world is on this next Xbox showcase. The only thing that can make a customer forget quickly is if you present them something fancy and new. But you always have to remember, a lot of these trailers are smoke and mirrors. It's been proven time and time again. This, just like basically almost nearly every single other company, makes it incredibly hard to get excited for anything coming from Microsoft. But I've seen this a million times over and over. Something's gonna be shown and the community is quickly going to forget before it happens again, rinse and repeat. It's an endless cycle with this company. They just can't have a straight streak of success, much like this YouTube channel. So anyways, like, comment, share and subscribe if you so choose to. With that being said, we'll see you in the next one.
Free Tango sucks ass.